This meeting of the Technical Transportation Committee for Tippecanoe County. I bring this meeting to order with our first item on the agenda being approval of the minutes from the November meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you for the second also. If there are no questions or comments, I'll proceed with a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from November, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Minutes have been approved. Next item on the agenda is access permits. Do we have, yes, we have an NDOT representative. And
Yes, we do.
talk about those.
And they're up there on the screen. I will talk about one, and if anyone wants to raise questions about any of the others, be happy to entertain questions. The one I wanted to point out, because I don't think we've mentioned it here, is Battleground, State Road 43, just north of the interchange. There's a development that is working on the permit application. It says on here O&M Construction. It's the third one on the list. And I just wanted to point out that that site is going to drive a signal warrant on 43. So if you didn't know that, just want to make sure you were aware that we expect, as things progress, that they will be constructing a traffic signal on State Road 43 at that location. Stu, it's just north of the interchange ramp. The old Holiday Inn site that's being redeveloped.
I was thinking of the people who are trying to develop the pet cemetery, and there's already a signal there.
Yes,
This is south.
correct.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
All right, thank you for highlighting that. Are there any questions on any of the others? Okay, there appear to be none. We'll move forward. Next item is the amendment to the TIP. Doug, you have the floor.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. We have a request from Tippecanoe County to process an amendment to the TIP for a new project. It's their 4-year bridge inspection program. This is required, and it covers 4 years. The specific details are in the staff report. It covers fiscal years 2027 through 2030, and you can see all of the individual phases that are listed through the 4 years. Really, that's just straightforward. It's a new project. So APC staff is recommending approval to the policy board. Stu, would you like to add anything?
4 years is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Any comments or questions?
I had 5 last year to 1, 4 this year, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a motion to,
Recommend
Amend.
approval.
right, thank you.
I move we approve the amendment.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, if there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion is approved. Next item is a different type of TIP amendment, modification of procedures, following up from our conversation last month, I believe.
Yes, we did bring this to our previous meeting, and we're now officially starting the adoption process. Earlier this year, we had our certification review with NDOT, Federal Highway Administration, and the Federal Transit Administration. And in looking over the TIP, they requested that we update the amendment modification process. So that is what we have done. We started this new update based on NDOT's STIP manual, so it follows their procedures. And then we looked at all of the other Indiana MPO procedures, and we saw two really interesting pieces that we added. One is correcting errors, say for example, a Scribner error that was in the tip that we can just easily just change that, and then also for an emergency tip amendment. So if the 220 or the 25 bridge over the railroad was an emergency and we needed to amend the tip, we could easily do that, and this actually establishes the process for this. It also now requires us, when we do bring tip amendments to this board and then to the policy board, we actually post it first on Facebook and Nextdoor to give the public an additional opportunity to comment, and then also notify them that we are doing it. So it's an additional work on our part, but we think it's important to get the word out before we present it to this committee as well. So the policy, the draft, was included in the packet. It's the same that we've sent out before, and we're hoping that we can present this to the policy board in January. We did submit this to our NDOT, Federal Highway, Federal Transit representatives, and we have not received any comments back. Well, we did receive one back from the Federal Transit Administration. This is a local process. We don't have any comments. So otherwise, we are moving it forward at this point. So is there any comments or questions? And likewise, we'd ask for a recommendation for approval to the policy board.
So we'll need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Being that there appears to be no further discussion, I'll proceed with the vote. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the APC progress report. And
Would you like me to go ahead with just the three items?
yes, please.
Great, I will do that. First thing on the agenda here is a letter that we sent to Eric Larson down in Indianapolis regarding our federal functional classification review. It's complete. We finally were able to work out all of the minor details, and this is regards to the functional classification changes that we were first thinking of within the smaller towns. And since they are not on this committee or on the policy board, we would have to actually work with them. And then when we started working through all the details, some of the changes we didn't think needed to happen. And then we also worked with the town of Battleground and some roads in that area, plus NDOT made some changes, and we are good to go with that. So the only signatories we need on this were the two cities, Lafayette, West Lafayette, and then Tippecanoe County. So as you see, here's the official submittal letter with the signatures. We did submit this. We submitted the application. We had an extensive review of all the individual parts with also maps showing where they're located, and sent them GIS files. So if anyone is interested in that information, I'll be more than glad to forward that to you. But we thought it would be a good opportunity to let all of you know that we have completed this project. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Going on to the next thing, well, it's time to start looking at our federal funds, specifically our 2026 federal funds. So in the staff, or in this, the packet, we do have the one-page breakdown of where all of our federal funds will be going to, specifically by project and by federal funds. We did add a second column below. You see a status where we're just giving a snippet of information in terms of what's happening or where the project is at status-wise. So even though right now we have not obligated any federal funds, we are working towards that. The good news, glad to report, is that for the Soldiers Home Road project, the first phase, and this is the phase basically from the Sagamore Parkway up to Hamilton Street. The environmental document has been recently approved, so now we are moving forward and doing that FEMA's obligation report. So hopefully in the next month, we will actually see some of our federal funds obligated. Any questions or comments? Okay, going on to the last piece of information, the 18-month letting list. As you see, there's a lot of S's on the side, meaning that they're all moving forward. The first project on US 52, auxiliary lanes, that project was on the December letting. If you looked on the website, there were, I believe, 5 bids, and all of them were above the engineer's estimate. But what we heard was that the project was being reviewed, and it looked like that was going to be actually awarded. The information specific to that was not available this morning, but that's what we heard. Looking at projects 2, 3, and 4, another excitement here next month on the 14th. One big one is the State Road 225 truss reconstruction and repair project. Then we have one on I-65 and then State Road 38. And then following that in February, we have the 9th Street project, the first phase going to construction then. And then looking down on project number 9 in March, boy, we're having a lot of local ones here if you've noticed that. The North 9th Street, this is a bridge deck replacement, so expect closures for this road. And then the following month in April, we have the first phase of the emergency vehicle preemption project. So looking down, 18 and 19, 18 is the North River Road. This is the special federal funds that NDOT gave to local governments for safety improvements, and this is on North River Road where we'll be installing the center reflectors. And then right below that, project 19 is the second phase for the emergency vehicle preemption project. Any questions or comments? Would anybody like to add anything more about these projects? Just give you the opportunity. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, so we've reached the point in our agenda where we entertain any other business to be brought before the committee. Okay. The next item then is citizen comments. Do we have anyone present? Okay, appears not to be anyone. So the last item is adjournment. I will entertain a motion for that.
I move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you. 18 minutes, wow. Oh, 15. 15 minutes, okay, I think that's the fastest.